The Great CWD Deception. Part 2. Despite John Eveland's and the USP's apparent fall from grace with Dr. Bastian, Eveland and the USP are supposedly attempting to carry on without Dr. Bastian's help. It appears they are keeping up a facade that the research is ongoing. Looking at the Unified Sportsmen of PA's website, they are still collecting money for CWD research. Interestingly, they are also raising money for legal defense. USP also posted they recently held a CWD meeting in which John Eveland and Representative Maloney attended and spoke. The Unified Sportsmen detail how John Eveland is the director of the North American CWD project, and they post a link to his website. Oddly, when you click the link to the website, it brings you to a home screen and nothing else. There is nothing else on the website, not details about the project, no information or resources or anything. The website clearly is defunct. Suspiciously, the North American CWD project does not return any results when searched on the IRS tax-exempt search tool. This would leave one to believe the organization is not a non-profit organization. Because of this, finding financial information such as 990 forms viewable to the public was not possible. Oddly, other than a single defunct website, no other resources were found for the project. This is peculiar considering the North American CWD project has been around since 2019. When you click the other link, it takes you to the Unified Sportsmen's CWD section on their website. Suspiciously, the website mentions that the USP have combined efforts with the North American CWD and Human Health Project, Project NOAA, to cure CWD. The site further mentions plans to develop hunter test kits and vaccines. Examining the Human Health Project's website, we see their mission is health information, education, and support, with an objective to empower individuals locally and globally to manage their health. There is no mention on their website of CWD or Project NOAA. Furthermore, emails and phone calls to the Human Health Project found no record of CWD research. Hitting dead ends with the Human Health Project and Project NOAA. Google searches turned up this document. In it, it lists yet another organization. John Eveland, President of Terra Core Institution. The document states that John Eveland is currently the founder, president, and CEO of the non-profit Terra Core Institution, as well as founder and director of the North American CWD project. The site mentions Dr. Bastian's research lab located at the Advanced Materials Research Institute, University of New Orleans. Also mentioned is a Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania lab. However, there is no indications that such physical lab currently exists. Examining the Terra Core Institution's webpage. The Terra Core Institution homepage does not mention anything about CWD. The site says Terra Core is no longer just a concept, but after a decade of testing and planning at a private/public investment of over $6 million, and after partnerships have been forged with state and federal governments and with both labor and industry, this great new vision for America is now poised to become reality. This is a time to realize that Terra Core is a bold new vision that will strengthen our society, our economy, and our ability to compete within the newly emerging global marketplace. It is a time to enthusiastically and aggressively pursue the immediate development of Terra Core International Park and National Laboratory in western Pennsylvania as a dynamic new tool toward the long-term benefit of the people of Pennsylvania, America, and the world. Further examining Terra Core website, it mentions desire to construct a national park and lab that will address domestic problems that will face America in coming generations, especially in the areas of education, science and technology, space science and exploration, energy independence, environment, and the conservation of natural resources. The site further mentions plans for a supposed lab, which does not appear to exist. The site boasts about how great such lab will be and its numerous benefits. The site also mentions how $6 million has been donated to Terra Core, and even support from federal, state, county, and local governments. John Eveland further states how great the National Lab and Park will be and how it will bring business to Western PA, even comparing it to Disney World. The site also mentions a partnership with the Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA for short. However, numerous phone calls to the EPA have not provided evidence that such a partnership currently exists. John Eveland's description of the Terra Core institution is obviously exaggerated, and it appears that a lot of what he says about Terra Core is just not factual. The only other web resource for Terra Core institution was johnevelandphotography.com. Oddly, there was no photography on the site, but there was information about Terra Core institution. The site mentions how Terra Core institution is a 501(c)(3) organization and that the EPA and the Southwestern Pennsylvania Building and Construction Trades Council in affiliation with the AFL-CIO has a partnership with Terra Core. Oddly, phone calls to both organizations have not provided any evidence that such partnerships currently or ever existed. Both of John Eveland's websites about Terra Core institution appear to represent John's dreams. There is nothing of substance in either website that describes what exactly Terra Core is, where it is located, and current research. Most importantly, neither website mentions CWD. However, details on how to donate are made readily available. John Eveland mentions on his site, nothing like Terra Core exists anywhere in America or the world. Comically, this appears to be a literal and factual statement, as growing evidence shows Terra Core institution's only true location resides in the mind of John Eveland. Since Terra Core is a tax-exempt organization, they must make their annual 990 forms available for public inspection. Oddly, that data is not readily made available for public inspection on the IRS website. The public can only see that the 990 forms were filed, but not the actual form itself. Digging into Terra Core's finances outside the IRS, using ProPublica, one can see that Terra Core has been tax-exempt since 1989. Also visible on the site are 990 forms from 2011 to 2001. Examining Terra Core's 2011 form, we can see that the total revenue is $0, as well as every other category. Clicking the 990 form, one can view that the form is mostly blank for 2011. Furthermore, examining the IRS filing for 2011, it shockingly shows $0 of contributions, membership fees, gifts, grants, etc. from 2007 to 2011. Scrolling down to supplemental info, John Eveland states the Terra Core institution has been in the process of negotiating location and operations with the state of Pennsylvania and select federal agencies pertinent to the project. Although developmental activities have continued, no funding has been requested nor revenue received, and no expenses have been filed to date. Considering John Eveland stated $6 million was raised for Terra Core institution, it's extremely odd that $0 are listed in the public support section for 2007, 2008, 2009, and 2011. It's also odd John Eveland stated that no expenses have been filed to date, considering he also stated Terra Core was featured in newspapers, television news presentations, and even a PBS television special, all things that require money. It's odd that no information could be found about CWD research among the organizations supposedly involved. Also, it's suspicious that money apparently flows through numerous organizations. Oddly, money apparently goes to the Unified Sportsmen of PA, and then there is the Human Health Project apparently working in tandem with Project NOAA, even though no CWD research is mentioned by either organization. Then there is the North American CWD project with a defunct website and no information. Lastly, the Terra Core institution with its laboratory and international park. Hitting dead ends with the USP, John Eveland and his numerous organizations, research was then conducted on Dr. Frank Bastian. Google searches for Dr. Frank Bastian turned up this document stating he now worked at the Bastian Lab for Neurological Research at the University of New Orleans. Examining the University of New Orleans Advanced Materials Research Institute webpage, one will see a list of startup companies. Among the list is Bastian Enterprises with no clickable link. On the left, the Bastian Lab for Neurological Research has a clickable link. However, the link takes you to a blank Terra Core web page. This is odd considering the other companies have links that send you to functional web pages with a lot of information about the company and the research, unlike the Bastian Laboratory link which sends you to a blank Terra Core web page with no information. Emails were sent to Dr. Bastian asking about the progress of his research and if donations to the Unified Sportsmen of PA, or to the Terra Core institution, would help fund his research. Dr. Bastian's reply was shocking, he stated. I have a company in New Orleans. Bastian Enterprises, LLC. The company has no association with PA Sportsman Organization or Terra Core Institution. If you wish to give donations, you can send monies to me in care of Bastian Enterprises, LLC. I have no set timeline when diagnostics would be available. Dr. Bastian's reply was stunning. Where are the monies for CWD research donated to the Unified Sportsmen of PA or the North American CWD project, or to Terra Core Institution, going to then? And who is doing the research? Emails were sent to each Unified Sportsman officer asking where the CWD research donation money went towards and to what organizations. It took 3 days to get a response. Oddly, when the response did come, it was not from any USP officer, it was from John Eveland. John Eveland's response, while long, did not directly answer the question of what the research funds will be spent on. Eveland gave a runaround of the background of CWD, and that he created and administered the lab in New Orleans. Eveland further mentions Project NOAA is a project of Terra Core and that underwriting of the Terra Core lab in New Orleans was headed by USP. Eveland also mentions that the lab is moving from Louisiana to Pennsylvania to fast-track the project and that donations are tax-exempt. A response email back to John Eveland further asked questions that should have been easy to answer. Questions such as when will the research fully be moved to Pennsylvania, who is doing the research, why is the research relocating to Pennsylvania, is there a timeline for CWD test kits, and where is the Pennsylvania lab physically located were asked. John Eveland's response did not answer a single question from the previous email. He apparently avoided the questions by stating again, "Thanks for your interest. Our intent is not in the process, it's the end result." Research in itself is of little value unless it is in the realms of education or politics. From our viewpoint, research is but a tool that is required to solve a problem or to move society forward. My intention some years ago was not simply to conduct research on CWD. Instead, I realized the great impacts to wildlife, environment, economy, society, and human health that were upon us and growing, and realized that conventional approaches were not addressing the crisis. Our project was born out of necessity. I had the background, the will, and the means to solve CWD, and so began our mission with a strong and growing partnership focused on ending CWD. Interestingly, John Eveland never mentioned Dr. Frank Bastian by name in his responses. This seemingly validates Dr. Bastian's cease and desist order. This is the end of part 2. Please continue watching the final video by viewing part 3.